Yo, what's good everybody? Jay with us, back with another video. Today we're gonna be doing What If Deku was a Waterbender? And you know what? I feel like y'all are gonna really like this one. It's a little bit longer, which is gonna be okay, but I have a little bit of a plan actually this time. I typically plan out my videos pretty well, but from me looking at my plan, I think y'all might actually really enjoy it. So without further ado, I say why not just go ahead and get into it. So our story starts off with them all, like his whole class, returning back to the classroom, and they have about a week of just regular old classes of like English, math, history, science, the basic ones, having a little bit of hero courses here and there. So about like a week, and then Aizawa comes in and is like, I need you guys to take these slips and get them signed by your parents. I don't care how you do it, just get it done. And Red's like, wait, why? And he's like, we're going to the USJ. And Red's like, what? Universal Studios Japan? Whoa, that's so cool. And Aizawa was like, no, unforeseen simulation joint. And Red's like, oh man. And everybody goes home and they get their slip signed. And uh, they return back to class the next day, giving Aizawa the slips. And as I was like, good, we have a 100% rate of everybody getting their slip signed. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. And, or not let's get into it, but he's like, we'll be leaving in we'll leave next week, next Monday. Because we'll say that it was Monday on the dot that day. And everybody's like, yeah, cool. And we're gonna have a jump skip kind of the same exact day. However, it's during lunchtime. And every and what happens is they're all going to lunch, and our regular group is just sitting together eating lunch, just enjoying life, just hanging out, when suddenly the alarms go off. Was it a villain attack? No, it couldn't have been. UA has too tight of security. Everybody looks out the window and it's like, it's just reporters. Or Izuku looks out the window seeing it was just reporters, but he sees a sea full of chaos. And what he does is he creates a little water pillar with, like, he was like Todoroki giving some, and Todoroki was like, like he nods. And Deku, he uses his ice and he makes a little pillar in front of the door. And he's like, please remain calm. There's no villains. It is simply news reporters who got onto campus. And everybody's like, wait, what? And everybody floods to the windows and are like, oh, okay. So they all return to their seats and they all presume lunch. And from this, like, Deku took initiative. Like, I don't see any other world where he wouldn't get, like, class leader, I guess you could say. But anyways, so everybody agrees that he should be class leader, like, blah, blah, blah. And so a week goes by, and I was always like, all right, everybody, follow me. We gotta go get on the bus so we can go. And everybody's like, yeah. And they all follow him. And Izuku's just like, just get on the bus, like, calmly. And everybody's like, I bet. So everybody gets on the bus, and they're just chilling. And eventually, Suyu starts talking. She's like, so, who do y'all think the strongest is? And Aizawa cuts them off and says, okay, we're here. Because it was kind of like, Asui, or Suyu, she says it more towards the end of their bus ride. And Aizawa was like, all right, time's up. We're here. Let's go. And everybody gets off the bus, and they all go in, and 13 starts talking about it and said, you see, guys, I have a very powerful quirk, but if I use it for anything other than heroing, it'll be really dangerous. And she uses it on a like massive tree, and it just gets sucked up. And everybody's like, what? And she starts going on like a massive rant, and Izuku just starts spacing out, and he looks down at the center lobby, and he leans over to Aizawa, and he's like, hey, are there supposed to be villains down there? And I was like, wait, what? He looks down there and he sees a bunch of villains. Like, we're gonna say it was like a little bit more than last time, or than in the original. And I was just like, no, Ida, go get All Might. And Ida's like, yes, sir. And Ida runs out like just before they fully close the door, because Izuku noticed it before they could fully close it down. All the doors will say. And Ida starts sprinting off towards UA. And because of this, like, we're gonna, like, All Might appears like around the same time that he does in canon, except there's not really a space. How do I want to say this? Anyways, Kurogiri's like, oh, that one of the kids escaped. He goes up there and teleports everyone. And on the boat, it's going to be literally like it's just gonna be Suyu and it's going to be Deku. And that's going to be what's on the boat. And Deku's just like, and they both land on the boat. And Deku's just like, how should we get out of this? And also he's like, I don't know, but there's a bunch of villains in the water. I think we gotta be really careful if we do anything. And Deku's like, of course. I mean, I always take things carefully. He looks down and he's like, oh, they really did not prepare they really did not prepare well for this at all. And so he looks over him and is like, wait, what? And he's like, dude, I can control water and you're a frog. Why did they put us here unless they didn't know our quirks? So Deku, what he does is he takes the lake and he completely freezes it and he jumps down. And all of the villains are trapped in the ice. And it's like, what? Kid, you can do this? And Deku's like, yeah, y'all need to start preparing better. And he's just like, you guys need to sit here and think about what you've done. And he keeps them frozen there and he goes and helps. And he goes back up to the class, like the people that didn't get teleported. And there's a few people that didn't get teleported, but we're gonna say Inasa didn't get teleported. And Inasa's like, hey, I think Aizawa's having some trouble. And we see Aizawa super out of breath. And they're both like, and they both nod to each other. And they both jump down there at the exact same time. Deku's stealing some of the water from the lake. But he can't take too much because if he does, the villains are gonna get unstuck. He takes just enough and he starts doing water whips and he starts just like comboing these villains. Inasa using his air pushes them into it and lifting them up, and Deku just like whipping them, grabbing them, and yanking them down to the ground. And eventually the water is just gone. And they took out like a good portion, but it's not enough. And all of a sudden, like a villain's about attacking Izuku or Deku, and Todoroki just pops up doing a huge like geyser, and it just freezes it freezes like 4 villains. And Deku's like, good timing, and he yoinks half of it and has this just massive ball of water. And Todoroki's like, of course. And let me tell you, they all just start comboing them. Todoroki, what he does is he makes an ice geyser, or not a geyser, but he creates a few ice pillars, and Inasa shatters it, and Deku turns it all into water. And what he does, and then what's after this, all the villains are like, you missed. And Deku's like, did we? And he just surrounds everybody and encases them in like a massive amount of water, or like ice. And everybody's like, what? I can't move, but wait, why is this ice kind of warm? And Deku's controlling the temperature of the ice to where the inside feels warm, so they're not going to get frostbite, but the outside is completely solid, so where they can't get out. And this is actually a really useful technique for capturing villains and needing to get information from them. And this leads Aizawa to be like way less damaged than he was in this series. And this is because Deku, Todoroki, and Inasa jumped down and helped him way sooner. And Aizawa's like, thanks, kid. I really suggest that you don't be doing this, but whatever. You guys saved me, so I can't lie. Thank you. And they all just like smirk, like smile at him. And Shigaraki's like, no, it's not fair. Those brats. And he's like, Nomu, get them. And then Nomu just screams and just starts running. And Deku just looks over at Todoroki and nods. And Todoroki nods back. And Todoroki, he has an ice pillar get launched at it, just barely scraping the Nomu because he dodged. And Shigaraki's like, you missed. Ow. Dumb brat. I guess you can't really keep up. And then all of a sudden Deku's like, did he though? And he turns it into water, encasing the entire Nomu. And he turns everything on him completely frozen. But on his brain portion, he seeps the water into his brain. And he freezes the water, like flash freeze, making it like so cold that even like the brain cannot function. And he does this because he's like, it's not alive anyways. Because whenever he jumped on top of the Nomu, he checked the pulse and was like, it's just a lifeless shell. And he completely took out the Nomu in an instant. Shigaraki's like, what? This brat is not fair. And Deku's just like, yeah, you know it's not fair? How about you going after a bunch of teenage kids? And Shigaraki's like, no. And he's like about to launch at Izuku with his decay, and all my stars like, ha, I am here. And he just jumps down and then slams a fist crashing down, hitting Shigaraki right on the back. And Kurogiri is like, Master, no! And what happens after this is Kurogiri TP's over there and TP's Shigaraki away, and then like across like the USJ, and is just like, sorry heroes, we'll be back another time. Don't get too used to you guys winning. And he just slowly TP's away. All Might, Deku, Inasa, Todoroki, all not being fast enough to catch him. And after this, Deku's just like, okay, I'm gonna go capture all these villains. And you guys just keep up with your stamina. So this actually leads like All Might to not have to call the reinforcements, and we just get this amazing scene of Deku carrying all of the villains in the USJ in like a massive like ice ball that's like keeping them alive, and like is using healing water so that way they don't drown, but is like keeping it warm enough to where they're alive and they're like aren't gonna die, but encasing it in ice. And everybody looking at this is just like, whoa. And Izuku just has like a really cool scene where his eyes are glowing like the light blue, and the steam just goes from his mouth like as he's just carrying it. And Asui like turns her back to Izuku, looking back at Mina, is like, I think we know who our strongest is. And Mina just gulps and looks back at Asui, and and then she just starts shaking her head like up and down. And so everybody's just like, Deku's the strongest, like plain and simple. Like if he has water, he's untouchable. If you have an ice quirk, you're done. Like you're cooked. So, I mean, I don't really see like any other things going down. So, anyways, they have about a week break, and him and Fuyumi, they start hanging out. You know what I'm saying? And like finally one day, Deku's just like, "Hey, I'm just gonna be so honest. Like, you trying to go out?" And Fuyumi's like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, let me take you out. You know, like I wanna be your man." And Fuyumi is just like, "Wait, are you being serious?" She's just like, "Of course I will. I mean, like I've liked you for such a long time." And Deku's like, "Well, I mean, so have I. I'm just now wanting to do it because you deserve it." And they both just look at each other and they smile and they chuckle, and that we get a scene of like a little bit slice of life, but it's like they just start like talking and hanging out and cutting up, and they start like dating, and they have this thing where they just start going out like every like few days, like every weekend. Like he gets like a 2-week break from school, so he goes out with her every Friday, and they have fun. And anyways, school starts back up, and anyways, so a week of school goes by, and I was always just like, okay, so here's the thing. So we always have this annual thing called the sports festival. It's a compilation of many things and like challenges and tests for our students to make sure that they're physically able, and as well to prove that we are going to be a-okay, and we're not going to let some petty villain stop us from doing what we love. And everybody's just like, oh, that's so cool, Aizawa. And he's just like, anyways, sit down, I'm not done explaining. If you need a support item, you must, and I mean must, go talk to the support course people, so that way they can get you hooked up. If you don't, you cannot bring a support item. Deku, if you need, or not Deku, but Izuku, if you need a thing to hold water, you're gonna need to go to the support course. And Deku's just like, good thinking. But nah, I wanted this to be kind of fair. And I was just like, suit yourself. You guys have 2 weeks to train, get to it, have fun, and I hope y'all win, honestly. Like, y'all are way better than everyone else, clearly. And everybody's just like, wait, what? And I was always just like, what? I didn't say anything. And everybody's just like, okay. And he was like, and he just doesn't want to admit that he just complimented his class. And what we get is like we get like scenes of Deku taking Fuyumi out and training and having fun. And honestly, Fuyumi joins him, and we find out that Fuyumi is actually like pretty powerful. Like she not like enough to be a hero, but for a normal civilian, yeah, she's pretty powerful. She has an ice-based quirk that can actually she's an ice-based quirk, but her body heats up faster than the ice can cool her down. And Izuku's just like, whoa, that's actually kind of cool. Why didn't Endeavor choose you? And she's just like, Oh, because he wanted his successor to be able to use fire and ice, and I can't use fire. I can just keep myself warm. And Deku's just like, that's a really useful power. And Fuyumi just starts blushing, saying, thanks. Sorry, I'm trying not to do the weird like anime girl like stutter voice. But and then it's the like final day, it's the Friday, and Deku's just over at Fuyumi's place just hanging out, and Endeavor walks by and sees him, and they're just chilling on her bed, like laying down, cuddling up, watching a movie. And all of a sudden Endeavor like walks in the room and is like, you're Shoto's friend, aren't you? And Deku's just like, yeah, what about it? And the second Fuyumi was just like, who are you talking to? And she looks over seeing Endeavor, and she immediately just starts stiffening up like out of fear. And Deku, he just comforts her like silently and looks up at Endeavor and is just like, yeah, what is it to you? What do you want? And Endeavor's just like, I haven't really liked you, kid, but you know what? I'm actually gonna ask a little bit of a favor from you. Maybe this will make me like you. And we get this little like jump cut, like commercial sequence, and it's just like, you're gonna make Todoroki use his full potential. And Deku just like looks at him and is just like, and what if I'll try, but what if I fail? Or I mean, at the end of the day, you have to think Todoroki is his own person. He's not gonna just listen to me if I just tell him to go all out. And Endeavor's just like, oh, you will, because if you don't, I'm not gonna let you see my daughter ever again. And Todoroki just looks at him and is just like, you see, I would say yes to that proposal, but what are you gonna do to stop me? What are you gonna do to stop her? Because at the end of the day, what if like just all of a sudden, what if she just decides to not come home one day? What are you gonna do then? Call the cops on her? I mean, she's turning 18 in a few days, like, and we're gonna say that he's 16 in this version, and which isn't weird. I'm gonna say this now, actually no, she's 16 as well. We'll just say that so it's not weird. And he's just like, and what are you gonna do? Call the cops on her? And he's like, yeah, for child endangerment because she's not 18. And Deku's just like, while that is true, how about I call the cops on you for all of the years of torture that you put Todoroki through, or Shoto through? And Endeavor's just like, how do you know about that? She told you, didn't he? And he's like, nah, I found out. It's not that hard to tell. I mean, you pushed that kid way too hard. And besides, even if I didn't just know Shoto told me, so, well, whether or not it's true or not, I have to believe my friend over you, because at the end of the day, I haven't ever liked you either. I mean, you're a narcissist, and you're not even that good of a hero, to be honest. And Endeavor's just like, whatever, brat, you better make Shoto go all out. And he's just like, bye, craphead, and then like waves him out the door, and he's like, oh, and close the door on your way out. It would be much appreciated. And Endeavor's like, brat, like closing the door slowly, like, because he doesn't want to mess with Izuku now. Like, he knows too much. And after this, like, Fuyumi just like relaxes in his arm and is like, how did you talk to him so easily? He's like so scary. And Izuku's like, I've met scarier. He's not that bad. Compared to my childhood, he is not that bad. But compared to my childhood, it's really not that bad. I mean, having to deal with spirits from the age I was like 6 all the way up to 10. I've met some scary people, and he doesn't even break top 50. And Fuyumi is just like, wait, what? And he's just like, I'll explain another day. Let's just keep watching the movie. And he presses play on the movie, like holding her even closer. And she's not mad about it. She's just like, I wonder what he meant. I'll just keep watching the movie. And the next day they go back to class, and Fuyumi's sad because he's not gonna have as much time for her, but he's still like, I'll come and see you every Friday. How about that? And she's just like, okay. And she was like, you promise to take me on a date every Friday then? And he's like, of course. I don't want to break the tradition that we're making. And they both just smile, and they do couple stuff, like they kiss, and they both go separate ways. And he walks home, and then he goes to UA the next day, and it's the day of the sports festival. And So they're all getting ready for the sports festival, and like Deku's group is just like chilling, talking, and Aizawa walks in the room and it's just like, all right, kids, get your gym uniforms on and meet me at the men's and women's change room, like outside of it, like in the lobby basically. And so they all do so, and they meet Aizawa and just like, all right, walk out, and you better make yourselves look good. Oh wait, no, I didn't cover it. A really important part. Okay, so anyways, as they're walking out, Deku has a flashback to whenever 1B and like came to the classroom and just started staring down 1A, basically saying like, y'all aren't as good as us. Like that's what 1B was saying. And Deku just walks out before Bakugo can't even like say anything. He walks out and is just like, hey, I hope you all have like a wonderful match. Like it's like such an honor to meet you all. You guys are aspiring heroes just like us. Like I couldn't ask for a better like turnout. So he just starts like talking to everyone and honestly defending pretty much all of 1B. And Monoma, of course, like he comes up to Deku and is just like, and he just starts talking, and like of course it's Monoma. So Deku's just like, chill, bro. It's not that deep, but like, if you do anything, I will. And Kendo just comes over and knocks him out, and Deku's just like, oh, okay. And Kendo's just like, I'm so sorry for him. Y'all have a wonderful day. Like, we won't keep you any longer. It was all Fartface's idea, anyways, referring to Monoma, of course. And they walk out, and all of the dancers are like, yeah, let's go, sports festival time. And so they all walk out and they're all just smiling. Deku's just in the front, smiling and waving, saying, hey, like, saying, hey, oh, what the, okay, but after this, it's actually revealed that Bakugo has to give a speech, and he gives the same exact speech as in canon, and everybody's just like, boo, get him off the stage. And Midnight, like, it's just like, all right, we're gonna have our 1A class rep come up and say a quick speech before our festival. And everybody's just like, yeah. And Deku just walks up there and gives like such a motivational speech and ends it with, so everybody, do your best, go plus ultra. And the crowds just start like eat it up like a carnivore. Like, bro, it is insane. Like they all just go crazy. And Deku just walks back and Bakugo's just like, you think you're better than me just because you can get the crowd more riled up? Let's see who wins in that race. Or let's see who wins in the events. And after this, like, it's revealed to be the races. Sorry, I had to get a quick drink. And it's revealed to be like a what's it called? Not a relay race. A race. And everyone's just like, oh, okay, that'll be light work. And so it's the race, and Bakugo, he just like takes off running, and Todoroki tries freezing the whole tunnel, but Deku's like, come on, you ain't doing that stuff with me, unfreezing the like pool around him, and uses the ice and like uses it and like forms it solid and launches himself like back up to running with them. And every single time Todoroki tries sliding on the ice, Deku's just like, nah, mine now. Stealing all of his ice and turning it into water, making him fall. And everyone's like, what? That kid can turn ice into water and water into ice? He's so powerful. And he's just like, y'all haven't seen nothing yet. And he uses the ice skirting on it like he does with Todoroki, but it's faster whenever he's doing it because he's not just controlling the ice and skating on it. He's using it and actually propelling himself like what earthbenders do. And he's picking it up behind him, putting it in front of him, and it's just like super fast. And he's catching up to Bakugo like really fast. And Bakugo tries throwing an explosion to knock him off. Deku says, and hits him with a little bit of ice, like kind of knocking Deku off balance and Bakugo off balance. So they both just start running regularly through the minefield. And Todoroki, Inasa, and Ida all catch up. And Deku's just like, I'm gonna win. And he just goes forward again, and Bakugo's just like, not on my watch. And then it's actually revealed that they get to the tunnel, and who comes flying out first? None other than Bakugo. And Bakugo's just like, yeah, I win, you losers. And Deku comes second, Todoroki comes third, Inasa comes fourth, and Ida comes fifth. I'm not even gonna try and explain it. Like, I feel like I just like this order of event, like the order. And so, and then it's revealed like everyone in canon passes in canon regularly, and the cavalry battle happens, and these are going to be our teams: Ida, Deku, Inasa, and Uraraka. I was gonna do Todoroki, but then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna get that unfair. And then Todoroki's team is gonna be Todoroki, Mina, Kaminari, and Momo. And then Bakugo's team is gonna be Bakugo, Kirishima, Shitaro, and Hagakure. And Hagakure is on top, and she hides the band, and so there's no point for it. But Deku is just like, you know what we're gonna do? Let's put Inasa on the top. Actually, no, they put Uraraka on the top. And they have, and they're all carrying her. And they're just like, you know what? Let's go after some small headbands. So what Deku does is he just starts snagging them left and right with this water. Inasa using the wind to blow them off people's heads. And they win by just doing that. I'm not going to cover too much of the cavalry battle in this, but so everybody in canon passes in canon, we'll say. And what happens in this now is going to be the battle sequence. And I feel like I want these to be these are going to be the like ones that I'm mostly going to be focusing on. It's going to be Ibarra and Deku, which if you guys remember the original, it was actually Ibarra versus Denki. But in this one we're doing Denki versus Shinso, which I'm not going to cover too much because we all know Shinso is absolutely sick. So, just because we know Denki's very fast talking, and yeah. But actually, the interesting thing with Ibarra is Deku can control plans. Like, so at midnight goes, and 3, 2, start! And Ibarra starts off with a massive attack, launching her hair straight at Izuku. Izuku's like, plans. Where have I seen this before? And he says, I have played these games. No, I'm kidding. But he controls the plants, and he weaves them around Ibarra and wraps them around her, and basically winning the fight, or so he thinks. So he's like, do you want to give up yet? Ibarra's just like, absolutely not. And she untangles her hair. It's like, this is always such a hassle. And then she looks at Deku and is just like, oh, you're paying for that one. And Deku is just like, he just keeps controlling her plans, knocking him out of the way. And he's just like, so she's not gonna just give up. So what should I do? And then he thinks back to one of the spirits, like accidentally mentioning this. He can actually steal water from plants. But he's like, I'm not gonna do that from her, just in case. And what he does is he goes to the very edge of the battlegrounds and he looks at the grass and he's like, okay, you're mine now. And he steals all of the water from him and all of the nutrients, and he's like, wow, I'm glad I didn't hit her with this. And the whole audience just looks down and he's like, wait, did he just kill all of the grass? And he's just like, pretty cool. And he's just like, wait, does that mean I can also do this? And he steals all of the moisture from the air, and he's just like, oh yeah, this is gonna be easy. And he just starts weaving and weaving, and then he splashes the water on her feet, freezing her, and he just starts forming the ice up, just freezing her, making her have to raise her hand, saying, I forfeit. Like, there's nothing else she can do. Like, he froze her hair, too. So, after this, it's just pronounced that Deku's the winner. Then the Shinso versus Denki fight, and Shinso, of course, is like, I heard your little friend got expelled on the first day. How does that make you feel? And Denki is just like, don't you talk about me net. And he's just like, oh, I win. Just walk off the stage. You're insufferable. And Denki walks off the stage, and then, like, right as he walks off, he's just like, wait, what? And Shinso is just like, okay. And Shinso's pronounced the winner. And then it's just Shinso and Uraraka. Uraraka wins because she saw his quirk. And then Bakugo, Uraraka goes to canon. And then we have a wonderful fight of Deku and Todoroki. So you guys are probably gonna think, oh, I'm just gonna immediately make Deku win. I mean, he could just snag the water from his ice, which is true. But we also, Todoroki can also use fire, so it's gonna be a little bit of an interesting little fight. At midnight, she goes to the center of the circle and she's like, start! And immediately Todoroki starts off with just a massive blow and just sends a massive ice geyser. And Izuku just transfers it all into water and is just like, come on, man. And he waters the part that he killed, putting the water back into the plants, filling them with life again. And so everybody's just like, oh, good, he's not going to just leave that dead patch of grass. And what Deku does after this is he actually like reaches his hands up and, well, no, actually, we'll save that for later. So what he does is he's just like, come on, you know you can't beat me with your ice. Come on, just use your fire. Yeah, I know you've been training with it in secret. And Endeavor's just like, wait, what? He has? And and Todoroki's like, is it that obvious? And he activates his fire side and his ice side at the same exact time. And he's like, of course it is. I mean, come on. Ever since we were friends, I was the one that unlocked the quirk for you. Like, you always were like, it's my father's quirk and not mine. I can't use it. And Todoroki just starts like faintly blushing and is like, uh, yeah, and just starts stuttering. And Endeavor's just like, Shoto, is that true? And he just like blocks out the noise. And uh, after this, it's like he launches a huge fire attacking Mizuku and stealing the water from the air. He blocks it, like blocks the fire and cools it down as it's touching the water, so it doesn't like using his like temperature control. And it's like, man, if there was any more fire, I would be cooked. And just as he says that, fire from another angle starts launching at him. Todoroki kicked with his foot, like, and launched fire from another angle, and he was just like, good move, Shoto. And he sends the water down, blocking that fire like too, and he launches it, completely drenching that side of his body with water. And he uses the fire to release it all into steam, and he's just like, thanks. And he uses the steam, bringing it all the way back down onto Todoroki and making him just engulfed in ice, like completely unable to melt, because he brings the water already up to a boil but leaves a little thin like gap between the two ice, like between the ice and the boiling water, to where like Todoroki can't heat it up anymore, and between the ice, so it's physically impossible for it to touch the ice. And Todoroki's like, you always hit me with that trick and I still don't understand it. And to be fair, neither do I. And Izuku's just like, you'll understand one day, don't worry, little Shoto. And he walks up to him and is just like, there, now forfeit. And Todoroki's just like, fine, I forfeit. You're so embarrassing though. And Deku's just like, oh, I know. And I love it. And the crowd just starts cheering like, what? He beat the son of Endeavor? Who is this kid? And everybody starts cheering, and he's just like waving up into the crowd, and he frees Todoroki and starts walking with him. And they're just talking, and Endeavor comes down and like looking kind of mad. And he's just like, and Deku just pats him on the back. I'll leave you to this. And he just walks off, giving Endeavor a little bit of a salute, like, if you hurt him, I know where you live. Like, and Deku walks off, and this kind of sends chills down Endeavor's body. Like, if he can stop his son, like he can easily stop Endeavor, or he can easily stop him. So Endeavor and Todoroki start talking, and Endeavor says to Todoroki, I'm going to offer you a chance to join my agency. You don't have to take it. And Todoroki's like, I'll take it. And Endeavor's just like shocked. He's like, wait, what? And Todoroki's like, yeah, I'm not gonna join it for you though. I'm joining it because I want to get my flames hotter so he can't trap me with that skill anymore. And Endeavor's like, wait, what? What skill? And he's like, oh, it's this weird skill where he makes the water so hot near my body that I can't heat it up anymore to melt the ice on the outside, but the ice is so firm that you can't move. And Endeavor's just like, I could see why that would be a problem. And he just like talking with Todoroki, and he's just like, have you ever thought, well, this is why I gave you the ability to be able to use fire and ice, or this is why I wanted the ability so bad. Couldn't you just flash freeze the water on both sides? And he's just like, no, because he has this weird lot, like he can do it to where he makes like his ice side so icy to where he can't move, but his fire side so like hot that it can't burn anymore. And Endeavor's just like, whoa, he thought about everything, didn't he? And Todoroki's like, yeah, I know, but I feel like if I get my flames hot enough, I could work around that. And Endeavor's just like, maybe, but we'll talk later. And Todoroki still doesn't like Endeavor, but he doesn't find him completely insufferable just because of Izuku. And because of this, it's actually like the next battle is actually going to be between Deku and Bakugo. And we're going to say that Todoroki gets third place, of course, along with Togayami. Um, and now we just have to figure out second and first place. And you guys already know what I'm gonna say is getting first. So the battle starts, and Midnight's just like, go! And Bakugo starts talking, and it's just like, I'm gonna beat you, you nerd! And he just like launches at Izuku with a massive howitzer impact, and Deku's just like, huh, I can see why that would be hard to block. And then immediately, like right as Bakugo's about to land an explosion, he's like, die! What Deku does is he pulls the moisture out of the air and encases the explosion in water, and the water explodes into steam, making like the entire fight invisible. And we're gonna say that they had a person with a quirk that was able to like view through steam, and he telegraphed it to the audience so they knew it was happening. And Baku's just like, where are you? You can't hide from me forever. And suddenly all of the steam dissipates, and we just see him like a scene where Izuku's holding his hands up. What he's doing is he's conjuring a cloud. He makes it starts pouring, raining, and all of a sudden he controls the temperature in the cloud to create a massive lightning bolt that strikes right in front of Bakugo. Like not enough to hit him to like kill him, but like enough to, like to where like he like does it like far enough to where okay, never mind. Scratch that. He makes it starts running like he makes it start to rain, and he encases Bakugo with raindrops and ice, and fit like doing the same technique with Todoroki, so that way his explosions had like no effect on it. Because lightning is like if it's like too close in front of his face, Bakugo goes blind. If it's too close to him in general, he'll go deaf, or he'll just get zapped from electricity and die. So that's why I'm not gonna. That's why I'm saying no to lightning for now. For now. And after this, Deku gets first place, of course, and blah blah blah. So, anyways, they go back up to class the next day, and Aizawa talks about internships, and Midnight walks in and says, "But before we do internships, we still have to figure out y'all's heroes' names." And whenever Midnight reveals that they're going to be picking out hero names, Deku just immediately starts thinking, he's like, what should I do? And he thinks back and he's like, oh, I know. And he raises his hand into Midnight. He's like, oh, first taker. Let's see what you got. And he walks up to the front of the classroom and he says, the water control hero, Tui La, which everybody's like, wait, what language is that? I think that's actually Japanese. I'm not sure, but it means push and like it's tui and la, but I'm just combining the two, so it would be push pull. Like that's what it would mean. Like two, it's Tuila, and everybody's like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" And he explains the meaning behind it, and it's like, "Oh, that's kind of fitting." And so, anyways, everybody goes, and they have the same names in canon. And Bakugo's just like, "King Death Explosion Murder," and Midnight's like, "No," and he's like, "All right, fine, murder," and, like, and Midnight's like, "Nah," and he's like, "Fine." How about I do ground zero? And Midnight's like, very good. I like it. And he just goes and sits down. And with that being said, after this, Aizawa explains that now they have to pick out their hero interns. And I can actually see Deku going to Manuel, the same person who Ida went to. Not because of Ida, but because he's a control hero as well. And he feels like he actually might be able to learn something from him, like being able to learn how to control certain other things. And Manuel's like, whoa, I'm actually kind of surprised you chose to pick me. Both of you guys are very capable heroes. And Deku, thinking about it, he knows exactly why he picked Manuel. But he stays with Ida side and side and kind of talks to him about his older brother and calms him down a little bit. And with this, Manuel doesn't really know about his older brother like situation and why he chose to go to him in the first place. And with that being said, after this, the Nomu incident happens and like fires everywhere, and Deku's helping Manuel, and they both hear a scream, and it's native. Ida immediately takes off, and Deku's like, "Where did he go?" And he bursts a fire hydrant, and he steals all the water, and he's like, "Manuel, I'll be back." And Manuel's like, "Okay, I trust you." And he's like, "Wait, you're a kid. Wait, no, you don't have your license." And as he says this, Deku is just gone with Ida. And he turns a corner and he sees Ida about to get stabbed by Stain. And Deku, what he does is he launches the water he was standing on, freezing freezing uh Stain's blade and making it encased in ice so that way like it's blunt, like he can't stab anyone anymore. Stain jumps back from this and he immediately checks Ida's pulse and he's like, good, he's just unconscious. And he's like, Ida, can you stand? And he's like, no, his quirk. He licked the blood off of his blade and and I got stunned. I got completely paralyzed. But this is my fight. You shouldn't be here. Like and Deku's just like, it's always been my fight ever since you became my friend. And Ida's just like, wait, what? And Deku's just like, all right. And he starts cracking his neck. And Stain's like, you know what? I actually do gotta applaud that kid. He did actually come here originally for native, but when he saw me, oh, he immediately lost it. And Deku's just like, yeah, don't talk to him. Don't talk about him like that. I just want to beat you so I can make sure native is safe. And and Stain's like, I actually do kind of like you, kid. You care more about other people than yourself. Of course, you know too much now, so I can't let you live. But, but with that being said, I just want you to know you're gonna die with my respect. And he shatters the ice, and he rushes at Izuku, and Izuku's like reacts too slow, and he's like, whoa, he's so fast, and he sidesteps out of the way, and Stain like slashes Izuku's face slightly, like leaving a little like mark. And Izuku, since he sidesteps this, he gains his balance and he slams a kick straight into Stain's stomach. And Stain, he flies back from this, dropping his katana on the ground in front of Izuku. And what Izuku does is he encases it in like ice. And what he does is he creates like with the remaining of his water, he creates a little like dome around Ida and Native, like with kind of similar to Noelle and Black Clover, what she does with her abilities. So if you guys want representation of it, like kind of like that. And he's like, wow, even in the face of danger, you still manage to think about them before yourself. I'm honestly surprised, kid. And then he starts thinking, like, Deku starts thinking about things, and he's just like, wait, what was Manuel telling me? And like, it's like time basically stopped, and we get a flashback to what Manuel was talking about and how he could help him. Manuel started talking about how um he started talking about how like the human body is mostly made up of water, and he doesn't understand why he couldn't just, I don't know, control the water inside of people. And this got Deku thinking. He was like, wait, you're right. Like, what am I thinking about? And in that moment, Deku, what he does is he gets into the blood bending stance, and he's just like, now water water bending, blood turns to blood, and he starts bending, staying completely paralyzing him. And he's just like, now Ida, contact Todoroki. And Ida, presses a button on his phone and it contacts Todoroki. And Todoroki comes like 5 minutes later, encasing him into a block of ice. and and he's Deku, he drops his blood bending and is like super out of breath, and he's like, oh, that took a lot out of me. And Todoroki is like, how did you learn how to do that? And Deku's like, I'm honestly like ignoring, like going over the question. He's like, I'm happy you came and you did. If you didn't, I don't know how much longer I was gonna be able to hold out with that. And I can't do I can't bend blood and water at the same exact time. And Todoroki's like, wait, you can bend blood? And he's like, yeah, it's something that I kind of was just like thinking about with Manual. Like the human body is mostly blood, so I mean the human body is mostly water, so why don't I just control that water? And Todoroki was thinking about it like, dang, like Manuel like thought about that fast, and he was like, yeah, Manuel's actually like pretty smart. And so what happens is they take like Deku, he regains his stamina and he encases Stain in a block of ice, and they end up walking past Endeavor, and he's like, "Oh, Endeavor, can you take him to the authorities for us? Like, we're children." And they put native and like oh, actually no, I kind of want to do it this way. So Deku, what he does is he encases native and Ida both in a like block of like a ball of water, and begins healing them. Like they both think that they're cooked. Like they think that Izuku lost his mind, and they're both like, no, no, please. And then they start seeing their wounds start to heal, and they're like, whoa, this feels good. And after this, Deku's just like, okay, now what do you guys say? And Ida are just both like, thanks. And Uh, so with this, Deku, Todoroki, Ida never get talked to by the dog, and Todoroki and Deku are still just standing there, and they both just smile at each other. They dap each other up, and Deku's just like, "Thanks so much for the help," and Todoroki's like, "Yeah, I mean, you really needed it," and they both just start laughing, and Deku's like, "Not that bad," and this actually, Endeavor seeing this, he gets like kind of angry, but at the same time, he's also like, "Man, my son found a good friend who actually pushes him," and this is where we see Endeavor's like character development starting. And that is where we're going to close today's video. I would just like to say thank you all so much for watching. It's honestly such a blessing that I can come on this app and be able to make like videos for you all. I mean, I enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it, and like, subscribe, comment. Like I'm about to go on to and make another one. I'm gonna finish up the Asta series, and then I'll finish this up at another time. But I'm gonna start a new series here soon. I'm gonna drop a poll and see how many of y'all like actually want one, and like what y'all want. With that being said, of course, I would just like to say I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and peace.